My name is Jimmy Purdy, shop owner, master tech, transmission builder, and the host of the Gearbox Podcast. Here I talk with new and seasoned shop owners, as well as industry professionals about day-to-day operations within their own shops and all the failures and successes that come along the way. From what grinds your gears to having to shift gears in the automotive industry, this is the Gearbox Podcast. Well, I was pretty impressed with your guys' operation. You know, to be honest, I don't remember what his name was now.
My son, Bo?
Was that your son that was speaking at the event?
Oh no, that's my store manager, Jason.
Jason, yeah. I thought I didn't know anything about it, so I assumed Jason was the owner of the company the way he was talking, man. I'm like, man, how do you get your guys to talk like about your business like that? And he was like hitting all the points. Like it was like he had a lot of great things to say about leadership. It was awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, he's a good dude, good team player. Yeah, we that's how we operate.
Well, I guess on that note, what's I guess take me back to kind of the early days. How did it start for you, and how did you get to? Because you own 3 shops now, right?
Yep, 3, and we're actually just getting into contract on number 4.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, I've heard that once the 3 is the tipping point.
Yeah, 3 is a tough one.
3 is tough.
Yeah, because you need I'd say you need a certain level of management that costs money, and your 3 really have to be producing to cover it. But like our level of management now, I could probably have 5, and we're staffed for it at corporate level, we'll call it.
Yeah. How do they run the numbers with like management as far as output of pay? Is it based on just the production of their individual teams? Is that how you kind of quantify it?
Not necessarily. You know, our corporate level people is what we call ourselves. We just make our salary, and since we're in growth, we don't generate a lot of keep. So we're all paid pretty well salary wise. And as we worked through having 3, you know, to just try and lean it out as best as we can. So at least we're not bleeding everything out because we've got a lot of people. The addition of this 4th one is pretty much all you know, revenue and rent, because we already have staff that we're bringing to it. We're not going to keep any of their staff. So actually, I think we might keep one, but so basically, I'm not going to add any more personnel, and we're just going to add revenue and rent.
So I guess is the idea to overstaff at your other locations and then kind of pour over? That's
how we do it, because we run you know, we run a tight knit team, and you can't just throw somebody in there and expect them to know all the nuances. So we staff them in a location, get them trained. We're running fat, and then when we open up another one, we move them. They're ready to go.
Lean it out a little bit.
Yeah, we lean out the one shop, and we, you know, fill in the rest. And that's kind of temporary, because as we start to get rolling and we're generating good GP, good solid returns, then usually we'll staff again and eat it up and jump into the next one.
Do you take key players from your current operations? And does that hurt your, or what's your game plan there?
Yeah, we really don't try to move key players. The key players that are there, and because they're usually part of the reason why the operation is doing what it's doing. We usually will bring somebody in, get them up to speed, and usually the people that we're moving, we kind of turn them into key players, if that makes sense.
No, it does. Yeah, I mean, I've heard many different ways of getting to that MSO level, and some guys will gut the key players out, and obviously that shop will, and they kind of hope that that new shop's going to do well enough soon enough to make up the loss for, taking the key players out of the original one. So it's just interesting to hear the different dynamics. Obviously, I would think you would want that new shop to up and run as quickly as possible. And so my thought would be, well, yeah, take the high performance players out of that one and get that one rolling and then replace it. But it just seems like a lot of shuffling back and forth.
Yeah, we operate a lot with culture as a main ingredient, and when
I
you
like that.
disrupt that, it's not the same place. You know what I mean? It shocks it. So the goal is to not shock it. It's to know, hey, that you're in here. Hey, we're getting ready to open up another place. You're the one learning from Superstar. Let's see what you got, and then.
Yeah, I can understand that. I know we talked a little bit about culture, and that was the one thing that really I was really impressed with. Terrible names, Jason, right?
Yeah.
Jason. Yeah, the way he, as a manager, spoke about communicating with the team and really, invigorating. What would be some tips or things you've learned over the years to cultivate that sort of environment? Was that something just getting the right people in place, or is that something that you had a lot of adjustments you had to make over the years?
The reality is, I mean, you're in the business too. It really is. It's people. I mean, I get a lot of people that are like, "Hey, how did you do this?" And can I have you speak here? And dude, it's not really me. It is, but isn't. I get good people. I interview. We don't really have we don't we try not to tolerate a lot because we're like, look, Tools Garage is family, but it's also a high performing team. And the only way you stay on a high performance team is excel at your job. I got to excel at mine. And if I'm not doing mine, my team lets me know it. And I
But
preach that. I'm like, dude, if I'm not doing my job, let me know.
well, I think you kind of encapsulated it. Don't put up with no bullshit. That's the
Yeah,
bottom line,
exactly.
right? I
Exactly.
think
Because
I think a lot of us get stuck there.
yeah, everybody's a rock star, in an interview, and you gotta weed through it quickly. There's some key things that you can ask and do during an interview that are totally not related to the questions that you're asking. You're just looking for uh, body language, how they answer. Are you looking for a great answer that's not your typical "yes, that's true" type of answers? And then when they get past that, then you really, as long as you have your systems processes written out, like, hey, this is what we expect out of this role. We're going to monitor it at the 30-day, the 60-day, and the 90-day. We're gonna really make sure you're on track, and you like it, we like you, all that stuff. So
What are
we
those?
try hard to not keep them if they're not fit.
Yeah, what are those check-ins kind of, what do they look like when you're going through those 30 and 60 to 90 days? Is it like a real formal sit down and you have a
Yeah.
scorecard out, or you're just having a
Uh-huh.
conversation, or what does that look like?
It's a little bit of a scorecard and a conversation. We it's more of it is so when we do our reviews, it's kind of like a mini review. Um, but we basically ask them how they're doing, what they think how they think they're doing, what do they think they can improve in, what do they need help with, and then we answer the same questions. There's not many at 30 because there's not a lot going on in 30 days. So we just see, do they see what we see? Because if they're like, hey man, I'm doing great, and we're like, you stink, you know. Uh, so it kind of helps us gauge, do they see what we see, and are they on the same page? So
I see.
so I do have a lot of people that don't make it 90. because, I mean, I get sometimes there's a little bit of a fear factor because we run a clean shop. It looks like your shop is clean. It's well laid out. We have everything. Um, we have a process. Everybody's kind of like, they know what they're doing. And when new people come in, they're sometimes a little, wide eye, bushy tail. And we get that. So we try and let that, simmer down. We give them props and, help them out and get them nice and smoothly into their groove. And then we look at their groove.
What do you find? What do you find as far as like how long it takes to get into that groove? Because that is an interesting thing, and I really am like picking up what you're putting down. Like I understand what you're saying there, and I've noticed like it takes a little while before that new wears off.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And like I said, that 30-day is usually a a touch point. We're like, hey, how are things going? And usually that's when they get to be like, oh yeah, man, I didn't know that you guys had all this and you did this and that. This is cool. We're like, cool, that's great. Now you know where all that stuff is, right? Awesome. Okay, cool. Here's why that stuff's there, and here's what we expect you to do with it. We'll check in again in 60. We'll see how it goes. Here's what we're going to be looking for in your 60. And we let them go. Technicians, it's kind of easy-ish because, we know what we do. So I'm a tech by trade. My toolbox is always laid out the same. It comes with me. So wherever I'm at, my job is kind of the same. The only thing I have to learn is where do you park your cars? Where do your keys go? What does your paperwork look like? Where do I have to make my recommendations? That's it. So we know as techs, these are the things that we're looking for, but not really today. I want to see, once you got your job and this is a timing belt on a blah, 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 and here's all your parts, go. Because that you can be in your driveway. As long as you got your stuff in a lift, I mean, we're seeing what you can do.
Right. A nice clean bay and
yeah,
a nice clean shop and everything you need to be
you do you.
successful.
It's like grabbing a wide receiver. Here, I know this is a new playbook, new all this stuff, but I need you to get out there and run a post. Let's see how you do it.
Now, one thing I've been working hard on myself as far as like putting something together, because I've noticed like with technicians, it's like A, B, and C level. And I don't really agree with that. I mean, I get it's like a terminology that we all understand, but like breaking it down per repair. Now, when you're in that process, is there like certain repairs you try to keep away, or you just game on and just see where they fall or fail, or how's that process for like different levels of repairs? Is that something that you've put in place?
So usually what we're doing is we're really gathering as much info as we can on what do you like to do. Like if you're coming on board as a technician, I'd be like, all right, Jimmy, where's your wheelhouse? What do you do? What do you do that you'll make everyone else look silly? Oh, it's this. I love this. Perfect. We're going to give you a couple of those and just see what your
Okay.
wheelhouse looks like.
Yeah.
Then we say, hey, Jimmy, you good at reading schematics and figuring out the weird check engine lights? Nah, not so much. Okay, awesome. We're going to keep filling you with these, but on the chance that we have in our schedule where I can afford to have you take a stab at this, our shop foreman's over here. He's going to walk you through any problems that you have. Have at it. That's kind of how
that
we
makes
approach
sense.
it.
Yeah.
We're not expecting you to hit a home run with it, but we want you to learn how to do it. And especially, we kind of like if you really don't have a process, because we do. So, I don't know how many technicians you have at your shop or what you do, but like when I was a tech, we didn't have like Google searches and, Identifix and all these
Right.
things that make it
Right.
like, I don't want to say easy, but
No, but it was figure outable. Like right now, like everything is figure outable, right? Like,
yeah,
and anytime you give a tech a job and they're like, I don't know what this is, like, dude, go figure it out. Oh
yeah,
man, like really? You what? Well, I'm gonna have to probably watch a YouTube video or something. Like, well, poor you, right?
go ahead.
There was a
You
time
know,
when that shit wasn't there, man.
yeah, right. You know how many things I fixed? I have no idea what it is. I have to go fix it, figure it out, what it is, how it works,
Yeah,
and then I fix it.
right.
I learned about it, but it's all the same. There's a process. You gotta, especially now. You got this thing. Oh, this car does this when it happens. This. Oh, does this when it does that. You got all the Yahoos on forums. You got, whatever. You can just identify pretty much 14,000 of these. Maybe I should check that
Yeah,
first. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that makes the job easier. It
yeah,
is a hard job. It is a hard job and all that stuff. But the reality is we're not alone, and there's enough information out there shared that we don't have to be alone.
yeah. That's true. Yeah, and I just have the problem with like trying to pull that information out of some technicians, especially when they start and you're like, hey, what's like you said, what's your wheelhouse? Like, what do you want? I'll do anything. Like, you don't need to impress me. Like I don't need you to be like the go getter, right? I need you to take a step back and say, like, show me what you're good at, because I get what you're saying there. Like, I want to see how good your good is,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yep. You can say, okay, cool. Because whatever you say you're good at right now, I'm going to do that with you, next to you, and we're going to race, or we're going to see who does it better. So pick something good. Oh, timing belts, whatever, right? So
yeah,
yeah, it is tough. Technicians are a weird breed. They're not easy to crack open.
right.
We want to be good at everything. Yeah, we're like, yeah, whatever. But there's some stuff that I'm not good at. I look at some of the stuff that my guys are diagnosing now, and I'm like, holy shit, what is that? I don't even. How does that even work? That's weird.
Yeah,
So
we are a little off, and then we decided to open a shop and manage people, and I don't think that's
yeah,
the best place for what for our minds. But
holy
I
cow,
mean,
man.
you figured it out, so
I'm
that's always
still
good.
I'm still figuring it out. So I don't think anybody's got it figured out.
So that I mean, and we talked too. So you jump on the front counter too, right? Like you're not like you're on the counter and you're out in the bays.
No, I can, yes. So actually, per se, yes. I work on the resto mods and the classics, but I actually don't write them up. I have them go to one of the shops, usually my Stockton location. The cars go there. My team writes them up. Hey, cool. Yeah, they do all the onboarding and they write up a couple of things. They get all the client information. They say, hey, our owner is the guy that does these cars, so you get to work directly with him. He's going to call you. So I basically work from my house. I have my work phone, and we're cloud based, like all the good software is now. And I call them up. Hey, here's what we got. I vet them because classic car work and resto mod work is totally different, totally based on trust, right? Because there's no guide, there's no book. You got to trust that I'm not taking advantage of you, and I got to trust that you're going to pay your bill.
Yeah,
So I really cement that up front, and sometimes I'll blow people out because they're asking the questions that are not going to be conducive to a good working relationship, and it mostly comes down to like, oh, well, I really think I could get this done for like $3,000. Dude, that's 12. Easy 12. So we're not close. There's maybe you can get it done for 3, but not at a shop
it's like not
with
here.
good people.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
one of the things that really kind of got my attention too when we were talking was you have a very successful operation and you are still doing classic cars. I don't know what to say still doing, but you are accepting the classic car division. And it seems like every single coach and every single company that I've been with or talked to or interviewed, it's very hard line, like don't take on classic cars. In fact, a lot of shops will do the 10-year cutoff. That seems to be the new, especially in California. It seems like all
Yeah.
shops in California, 10 years or older, nope, we don't want anything to do with it anymore. So it's
Yeah,
interesting.
that seems easy and weak. That's just, I mean, that's my personal opinion. Like I'm here for the client. If Jimmy's bringing me his you know 2013 Beamer and also has three resto mods, I'm not going to tell Jimmy to go somewhere else. Why? I can do it. I can do better than most people. So I'm gonna. You need to have people that can do it though. There is that. And I have a guy. We kind of have another young kid he has the ability and the desire to do it too. So we let him do some of the stuff when we can. That way I can bring somebody up, but that's important also. It's not for everybody.
It's not. It's a little different, but so I have an apprentice that just started here recently, and I feel like the classic cars are a little easier to kind of guide her through the repairs. I
Mm-hmm.
just I just feel, and I feel like it's the basics, right? Where if you understand, um, say what a mechanical speedometer is, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then it goes to a VSS, right? Now you have, then it goes into a module, and it's like, what's the point of all this? Well, it's just telling the speed so that the transmission knows when to upshift, right?
Yeah.
And I pulled a governor out of a Turbo 400 yesterday, and I'm like, this is what makes it shift, right? And you hit the little shuttle valves and watch the valve go up and down. I'm like, so when it spins, it opens up, and this is,
Yep.
and she's, whoa, like, and then it upshifts.
Yep.
And then eventually electronics take over, and it's just a speed input that does all. So it's just, I feel like if you understand the basics of it, then you start understanding why they start adding those sensors in place of those mechanical parts. I
Everything electrical came from mechanical.
Right. And
So
like if you have those vehicles in the shop and you have an apprentice come in or someone new, it's like you can really take it to like the fundamental level. And
yeah.
everyone's like, classics are so hard. It's like, well, I mean, you're not charging enough, probably, is part of the problem.
Yeah, you got to charge. This is one of the things that my service advisors have a hard time with because there's no guide, there's no book, and you'll be like, okay, well, hey technician, how long do you think that's going to take you? And of course, technicians are like, oh man, 2 hours. What that means is four.
Four.
So you better get six,
Yeah.
right?
That's funny. Yeah.
And you have to be able to approach it like, okay, hey, client, here's what we're looking at. We're time and material. Here's the rough idea. If it goes over this, I'm going to let you know. If it goes under, I'll also let you know. But here's our rough guide, 6.
Yeah.
So that way we have that buffer.
Right. And it's yeah, tough to find someone to give you an accurate estimate.
Yeah, I
Especially
I
whenever tech
actually
is like, God, I could do that in 45 minutes.
oh
It's like, okay, I hope you do, but let's sell it for more than that. So
yeah,
then you actually look good.
it's gonna be 6. Yeah. So yeah, that's what. And when I work with my tech Bill, I usually just ask him like this. I said, Bill, okay, cool. I'm looking at this. How many days is this going to take you? Oh, half a day. I'm like, okay, cool. 7. I mean, they
That's a
not
good
all
way of
techs
putting it.
can pull that out of their time book.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I guess it's shame on us for assuming that they could give you an accurate time estimate,
yeah.
because
They're
who knows?
the reason we're not estimators.
Yeah. The day estimate. I like that though. How many days?
Yeah, how many
Like
days?
a week? You think this will take a week?
Yeah,
A
it's gonna take a
week?
week,
No, that's
Bill.
way too much.
Yeah, cool. Then I'm gonna get 39. So yeah, it's just one of those things. You got to get enough time because we're not in the business to lose money, and if you want to have somebody good to work on these things, you have to help them stay in business. So
And
that's
you said, so you do a lot of the work too yourself on these cars, or is it you just ship it out? Not a lot.
yeah. I don't really do the physical stuff anymore. On occasion, I might go tackle something on a vehicle that I built. So I've built several full builds. So sometimes when I'm in town, wherever location I'm at, um, and I have a client that's like, oh, I have a Mustang that's in my Bay Area location. She's like, hey, it's doing this weird thing. I know you mentioned that this was a potential problem, so I think that's what it is. And I'm like, yeah, I'm almost 100% positive that's what it is. So here's your estimate. I'll get this thing ordered. I'll send it up there, and then I might head up there to the location that doesn't have um, my everyday resto mod tech, and I'll just go do whatever. Because to me, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, the small stuff. What's kind of like your daily operation, or what does your day look like as far as management's concerned, or kind of
Well,
what are you tasked with?
I'm the owner, Jimmy. So I'm
You don't
sitting
do
my
anything?
guys in the sun.
That's what I was hoping you'd say, because I want some inspiration, man. I need.
No, I actually do a lot of the back end stuff. So I have meetings with my son. He's my COO. So we're always looking at big picture items. We're looking at vendor negotiations. I do some estimating for the Resto Mod stuff. I look for acquisition businesses. And then I do stuff for the communities. So, I try and do chamber of commerce things. I do a lot of stuff for the community.
That's cool.
So it's kind of
Yeah,
weird, growing up a mechanic that has nothing. Kind of, we don't. We were always underpaid. At least I'm older than you, so we were very poorly paid, and but we love what we did. And it was week to week, man. You got your rent, you do your side jobs so you can go out and have fun with your friends on the weekends, et cetera, et cetera. Now with a business, multiple, or even just a business, I have gotten to do things that were never in my imagination. Like I could go help, I can help a group of people financially or physically because I have the time to do it, and we actually have the money to do it. We have a giant Christmas thing in our town up here in Valley Springs, and the Christmas tree is always put up by this group called the Valley Springs Area Business Association, which I'm part of. Well, it's always this little rinky-dink tree, and we get some pretty good winds blowing through here. So sometimes it's down the street. We gotta go get it. And well, this 2 years ago, we looked at a big exterior outdoor, fake tree, but heavy duty, like Macy's level tree, and it was expensive. And we were just a little group, but because I have three shops, and we have some funding here and there, we were able to front the cost of this tree, and the group paid us back after sponsorships for the event, the parade, and all the other stuff. But we were able to do that. And when I look back at like old school life for me, if somebody was like, oh man, we need like 10 grand for this tree, I'd be like, what? Don't look at me. I'll help you put it together. But now I can help them put it together and front the money, which is
that's so cool.
weird. It's not
Yeah.
nothing that I grew up with. Let's put it that way.
Well, and on that, I love the stories of that. What was the background? How did you? Was it family, or how did you get involved into all this? And why did you
Well,
decide to stick it out?
well, look at my last name. So
You had
my
no
last name
choice.
is Toole.
Yeah,
So
you had no choice.
I had no choice. No, I weirdly enough, my mother and some of my uncles were in automotive. One of my uncles was uh, the body field, but my mom always worked at like dealership offices and stuff like that. But mostly, I have something that technical kids have. I take things apart. I always had to know how it worked, for whatever stupid reason that was. Just instead of just being a toy that I could go play with, I had to have the toy, and I had to look at how it got put together, and then wonder. I was imagining, how does this work inside? It does something, so I'm imagining gears or something. So I had to take it apart and see and then I would of course try and make it faster or better or whatever, and sometimes that worked and sometimes it was broken.
So sometimes they
But
go back together.
yeah, but that's kind of DNA. I don't know where that came from. My I don't think my dad was like that at all. My mom not like that. So something in here is loose, and made me who I am.
So you
Uh,
didn't take over a family shop. You kind of started from
yeah.
square one.
Yep. Yep. I started, I think in high school, I used to draft actually. I was into drafting. So I really liked that technical illustration, drafting. I really wanted to design and build houses and stuff like that. Um, I was pretty good at it. So back in high school, everything was like with the mechanical arms and the pencils and all that stuff. But we got a computer in our classroom, and it had AutoCAD on it. Nobody knew how to use it. It was brand new to my teacher, and he's like, "Dave, figure it out." So I'm like, "Cool." So I did the computer, drafted the school. Actually, I drew the school floor plan. So I got my first taste of like computer stuff, and I was like, "Man, this is cool." Then I got into sports a little bit. I played football in high school because they told me I couldn't because I was too small. So I said, "All right, I'm gonna go play some football."
I'll say you look like a wrestler.
No, they wanted me to wrestle, but I'm like, no, I can't. I don't know. That looks painful. That looks painful, even though it's probably less painful than football. But so I was into that, and then I took auto shop, and that was the most fascinating thing for me. I'll never forget. My teacher pulls out. They have this camshaft, small block Chevy camshaft, painted lobes and everything, and I'm like, "This is a camshaft, and this does this," and I was just like, what is that thing, dude? It's the weirdest looking thing I've ever seen. And I got really into like engines. I'm like, how does that even work? Of course, because that's
Yeah.
how my brain is. I'm like, I gotta know. So I got into car stuff, and then I got a job at something. I had gas station jobs when I was younger, and some of the cool dudes would come in with these cars that were all and I was like, man, that sounds cool. And they always left with smoke everywhere. I'm like, I want to do that. And this Honda's not cutting it. So, but yeah, it was kind of always meant to be. Then I worked at gas stations. Then I went to work for my uncle in the body shop as a pretty much floor cleaner of Bondo dust forever. And then I went to a parts driver at a dealership, which is that's actually what really got me into wanting to be a shop owner, because I was a parts driver for this Honda dealership, and I think I was 17 years old. So when I went into interview, the parts manager was like, he's like, he's looking at me, stupid 17-year-old kid wanting to drive these trucks, these flatbed Isuzu truck and everything that they had. And he's like, well, I'm looking for somebody who's got some more driving experience. And my dad happened to be there because I had picked him up for something. We were doing something. And my dad says, hey, well, just so you know, he's been backing our tandem boat trailer in to the launch ramps and the campsites since he was 13. And this parts manager happened to be a boater. So he's like, I'm going to give him a chance. So he got me in. I crushed that job because that's what I do. I mean, I'm a worker. So I went in there, showed him how to really drive parts and deliver them. I was a little introverted also, so there wasn't a lot of chit chat. I would go in, bam,
It's like,
sign here,
get in, get out.
gone.
Yeah.
So I did that, but I really got a chance to see a lot of places. And back in that was in the 80s, late 80s, man, shops were just gross. Smelled, they're dark. I think everybody was high. You know, it was just it was like, man, it kind of burst my bubble a little bit, because in my mind, I'm like, I feel like this is what I should be doing, because I fix things. And back then in the 80s, I'm like, I bet if I have a shop, it's gonna, I imagine, white, stainless, lab coats, you know, shit that wasn't real yet. Shops weren't like that. But
Right.
in my mind, I'm like, this is a professional. You should be professionals. So I worked in that driving industry for a little bit, until this one gentleman in San Carlos, where I actually ended up opening up. He's like, Dave, I've never seen a parts driver 3 times in one day. And I'm like, well, that's what I do. And he said, that means you're efficient. Have you ever thought about being a mechanic? And I said, yep. I got a 67 Camaro.
Every day.
I got a 67 Camaro, and I'm trying to, do stuff to it. So yeah, I mean, I love this stuff. So he's like, yeah, I want you to come in and work for me. So I did. I left the parts department, got into this role, and he was my mentor. He did a great job mentoring me, because, when you're 17, 18, 19 years old, you know everything. And, I was hard-headed, but also, nervous. And, I would do my thing, and I'd be like, oh, hey, check it out. And he'd be like, yeah, that's almost there. And he'd fucking redo it, but he wouldn't be like, oh, no, that's wrong. He'd be like, yeah, it's just a little bit off and this. And I'm like, damn, I thought I had it. So he really groomed me the way that worked for me. And so I worked for him for I think it was 8 years. It was 8 years. Well, maybe it was 4. Something like that. 4 or 5 years. Then I went to the dealership as an apprentice, Honda apprentice. And I was already just as good as most of the journeymen there. So I was like, man, this guy must be amazing, because he's better than me. I came here and I'm in the mix with these guys, and they're all, 15 years older than me. So I was there for 8 years. I ended up leaving there as a shop foreman, a service advisor, and I dispatched all different days of the week. And being a foreman, I was the youngest guy in the shop. So when they promoted me to that, they're like, look, they're all going to hate you, just so you know, that's just how it is. And I'm like, I'm good with that. So that's when I learned, it's not really, you just have to have the right personality. And this is where I learned about shop culture, because it was a little dismal in the shop when I first got there. And then when I became a foreman, I messed around a lot. I would screw around and play tricks on guys, and it was less professional. And then everybody started kind of doing the same thing, and I was like, man, I did this. I changed this whole dealership shop. There were 25 technicians in there, and I created this environment, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't that professional.
Yeah.
And I was like, I gotta see if I can fix this. So, now I'm I was there for 8 years. So now I'm in my late 20s, and I just started doing things differently, and pretty soon we became a pretty efficient shop. Everybody was, we were flat rate, and most people don't like helping each other because they're on their own clock, making their own money. But we were actually we were a pretty good team before I left there. And that's when I learned really a lot about the culture, because I wasn't the owner. I wasn't even a manager or anything, well, kind of, I was foreman, but I changed the culture of the whole shop, just me. So I did another stint at an independent shop for 8 years, and it had a good culture. And then the owners really started to mess with it, and that's hard to battle. The owners coming in, because I think they felt like they weren't as needed, because they weren't. But instead of, I guess, enjoying it or appreciating it, they had to come in and fuck it up.
Interesting.
Yeah, you'll see if you're at that level, it happens. We kind of self-sabotage. So it's weird when you work yourself out of a job per se. So at the independent I was at, we changed numbers a lot. The culture was good until it wasn't. And before I left there, I was pretty burned out in the automotive field, because I'm like, man, I made it here, and this is what it was like. And I was like, I don't know if I like this. So I almost got into construction, because I started doing some side work with some of my buddies. They needed help. I would do cabinets, or, do some framing with them. And, I was like, maybe if I go get my construction license or my contractor's license, maybe I'll make some money. But weirdly, I'm working at this place that I was really kind of done with. And I got a phone call that came in from my original mentor, right when I was getting ready to do something. I haven't talked to this guy in like 5-6 years. I'm like, hey, what's going on? He's like, hey, man, Dave, I'm old. I'm ready to retire. You ready to come home? And I was like, let me go see. So I went and checked it out. It was the same spot I started at. It was way filthier, not busy. He's in his 60s. He wasn't doing much. But I was like, you know what, man? This is what I'm good at. So I give it one stab. I think it was just getting ready to turn. What was I? I think I was just getting ready to turn 39. I'm like, look, I'm almost 40. I'm just gonna give this a run and see what happens. So I went in and basically bought his equipment and started back at the original spot I worked at, and then it just blew up.
It just cuts to
Yeah.
Day one,
from,
I walk in. Day two, there we go.
yeah. I got everything all in line. I left the other job. I actually took my first summer vacation, which was kind of cool. So I left the independent shop in June. Yeah, June. And I did side work out of my house. I did a Tony Robbins thing, an Unleash Your Potential. I built an outdoor kitchen at my house in Belmont, and I got a website ready, because he didn't even have a website. So I got all that stuff dialed in, and I was drumming up work. Day one I opened up, I think I had 4 cars to work on day one, and they just kept coming. So it was pretty awesome. By the time at my first year mark, I hired somebody. So I worked by myself for 1 year. Then I had my employee Francisco. He's still with me. He was my first hire, and it was just him and I, which is weird. I don't know how many employees you got.
Five plus an apprentice.
Five total.
Well, with me and my wife, not included in that.
Okay.
So we both work. So we have five total: 2 advisors, 3 techs, 1 apprentice, and then my wife and myself.
When you first started, how many people did you have?
I actually started when I took over the shop. There was 3. There was 2 guys on the floor and 1 in the office, and they all quit day 3.
They didn't like it.
They did not. They did not like having to show up for work in the morning. No.
Yeah.
So they did not like me.
Yes.
I was an asshole, man. I didn't do a very good job when I started. I did not have the mentality. Yeah, a lot of that stuff has taken me 8 years now to actually start getting my head wrapped around it.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Like when you first was for me, when I went from just having to make sure I had enough work to pay my bills and pay myself. When I got my first technician, he's just doing he's working. He's not answering the phone, making estimates, doing any of the other crap that I was doing. And all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, I don't have enough. I don't have enough work for me to do. He's doing it all, and I need more because I have to produce hours too because I can't just collect money and have one technician, one advisor. It just doesn't work. I mean, you have to have a better ratio. You have, one advisor or maybe 2-3 techs, but not 1-to-1. It makes it hard to pay your bills. Mm-hmm. So that was the first instance of like, holy shit, this is weird. If I hire somebody, I have to really be prepared to crank it up because it immediately eliminates work off of your plate. So that's fun.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought too, because it does seem like you kind of put your toe in the water and you can't. Like you have to kind of like have like that vision, right? Like I'm gonna have X amount of techs and X amount of advisors, and you just got to go for that. And not just like, the phone's been ringing a little more than lately. And maybe I'll hire someone just to answer the phones. It's like, and I did that. I made that mistake. It's like, if I just get someone here just to answer the phone and then I can just sit there and do estimates, that's all I need. And it's like, I did all these stupid small, like budget mistakes, right? Like I'm just trying to be cheap. Like I don't want to hire a full-on advisor because I can still do it, right? Like I don't need someone. But if they just answer the phone and kind of like take care of that for me, and it just is so stupid.
It's a learning game. When did you? I heard a podcast. You did use some training institutes. So when did you think that was a good idea? How many years did that take?
I think about year 3, I was like, I definitely need some help. But the funds just weren't there. And I think it just goes back to the ego thing of like, you look at all the free information, you read all, you listen to the podcast, you read their books, you do all the stuff, and you're like, I can figure this out, right? Like I can build a transmission, I can figure out how to do this stuff, right? Like, so it's just, you start thinking about it and like the seed gets planted, but it's like, you just don't water it because you're like, no, I can figure it out. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's how we are.
That's well, then you talk that your group of like the people you kind of group with, like it's all the same. So like the owners I was talking to at the time, like we're all making the same amount of money, we're all charging about the same, and I just didn't realize there's like a whole nother like group of shop owners, right? And like, and as you elevate, like you start meeting new people that are on different levels, and it's just that's the most eye-opening part for me.
Yep. Yeah. There's some great shop owners out there. So there's a lot of information that you can steal from them. So for me, the cool thing about being in that independent shop is they sent us to ATI training for service advisors. So I got an early taste of like what's out there. And when we went, their lead guy, Brian Stosh, he was the advisor trainer. and he was sharp, and he was like, oh shit, these guys are sharp. He's throwing, scenarios out, and making us work for it. And I realized, man, there are people out there that know more and can really hone your game. And just like being in sports, I don't know if you played any sports, but there's a reason you have coaches, and because they see you kind of better or differently anyway than you see you. Um, some of the cool things that we did when I was in ATI, we were in this group called, or I was in this group called Peak Performers, and we used to travel to the group members' shops, and we would audit them. So paperwork, facility, we'd interview their people, and then we'd kind of go, give you, like, we'd give Jimmy all the information afterwards. And sometimes it wasn't, most of the time it wasn't good. It wasn't, I don't want to say it wasn't good. It was eye opening and frustrating sometimes for the receiver of that information, because we were all in some pretty good shops, and we would go in there as a group. And like, if I go to your shop's cherry, but I don't go there every day. So when I go there and I'm auditing it, I'm seeing things. Like, we went to this one shop, beautiful place, awesome. They had the coolest shit. Like, I still wish I had some of this stuff. But they had like old ass brake rotors holding the door open, like rusty, old fucking brake rotors. Like, this place is like high end. And they had this random like customer little computer sitting in a weird little spot and just looked janky. And we just started, noticing these things, and they're like, well, I guess I didn't notice that. Yeah, obviously. At least paint the rotor, paint it with, like, make it look like a cross-drilled slotted performance something, or I don't know. But that is junk. That should be in the scrap metal bin. Just little stuff like that. Like, you don't see it when you're in it. Sometimes it's nice to get somebody else's take on it.
Yeah.
That's where having people on your team with the willingness to let you know what they see, because when you're the owner, they don't want to, or they don't feel like they should. You have to make sure that door is open. Hey, if you see it and it's on me, I need to know, because I might not see it, and I'm going to own it. I'm going to, that's on me. That
the
rotor,
group process. Yeah, I'm familiar with it. We did the group process for about a year. We did this. We traveled like I think we hit 3 shops last year. And that came to an end. It did in the last of 2024. Interesting process, I don't know. I don't know, holding each other accountable and then paying the coaching company for that as well. It was just all like a little strange for me, right? And then you go to the shops, and it's like, well, it feels like I'm not getting anything out of this. And not to be selfish, like, I love helping, like, so of course you dive right in. Like, everybody loves to go to a shop and start being like, oh, do this and do that and do the other thing, but you can't do it at your own, right? But then you're like, well, what value am I getting out of this? Because I'm still paying for this monthly program, right? But you are learning, because that's the stuff you should be going back to your shop and kind of and picking apart as well. But it's hard to do it to your own stuff.
It's very hard to do it to your own stuff, and it's hard to hear it also. So it's just one of those things. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be willing to hear it, because not everybody's just saying it just to make sure they look better than you, but they're doing it, if they're truly doing it for you, it's something you got to listen to.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun when we did that during those shop visits. But again, like you said, it's when you're a thinker, it's like, look, all these ideas, they're all coming from us, and I'm paying for it, right? It doesn't feel awesome, because it's not cheap. And a lot of these ideas were mine. That being said, I also are indeed plenty, which is rob and duplicate. So,
That's true.
it's a trade-off. But like you were experienced, there are different levels. So I'm not a really big fan of being a big fish in the small pond. It makes me a little uncomfortable. I grew up a little introverted, so I don't like I don't like being noticed that much. But when you're the big fish in a small pond, you get to help a lot of people. So that's the trade off. You just have to break through whatever mental disorder that you might have. And for me, it was like I don't want everybody to think I'm great because I'm struggling just like everybody else. But if I can help somebody, that part was neat, and I think that helped me break out of my shell a little bit because I did get to share a lot of information of stuff that I did and that I learned on my own. And then I got moved into different groups, and I was like, holy crap, I want to be like that dude. That guy's got it going on. How's he doing it? So there's a lot out there. There's people that
There's
are
tons
rocking
out there.
out there.
Do you still stay in some sort of coaching group, or do you
I
just
was in
focus on your people?
I was in Transformers for years. I was actually in ATI and Transformers for a while, and then just Transformers, and now I'm not in any group because I really want to take that money and use it for on my team because I was having a hard time trying to. Uh, I'm looking at it like this. I'm spending whatever it was 15, 1800 $100 a month plus travel on me. Not that I don't need training, but we're in a good spot that I'm not even doing the tweaking of things. They are. So is it really valuable for me to spend $50,000 $60,000 a year on great ideas, or can I figure out how to get them into training, put together events where we all get together and we did an award summit last year where I ordered a bunch of awards. I took little polls of like what everybody thought, who was the best this, who was the best that, what store had the best parts, GP, all that stuff. And, we did a vision presentation and award ceremony. And, that cost less than my training all year. It was expensive, but it cost less than my training all year. And what the team got out of it was incredible. They
Yeah.
we're all spread out a little bit. We're like I think there's about 100 miles between our two furthest shops, so we don't see each other physically hardly often. So when we do, it's kind of cool because we are all on like Slack, so everybody communicates with each other. But when you're in person, you're like, oh hey dude, yeah, what's up? Oh, you're the guy that smoked me in hours. Yep, that's me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
it's fun.
That's definitely using the funds to impact a lot more people. So
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah, yeah. What about you? What groups are you in? Any?
Well, currently, yeah, we're kind of we're not with anyone right now, and we're kind of looking to see what the next options are. And the
Mm-hmm.
one thing I wanted to ask you too, because the one thing that I've thought about is it feels like when you're in a coaching group, like it's not really your shop, and a say where it's good to be held accountable. Like that's the point of the coach, but you're always kind of in the back of your mind. You kind of want to make some unilateral decisions and make some mistakes because you just like, you know what? I need to do this because I want to because it's my business. And
Yeah.
sometimes you need to be slapped and say, that's stupid. Don't do that. But sometimes you just need to make the mistake and learn from it. And I feel like you kind of get one hand tied behind your back in a sense with coaching. But again, maybe it's just the group that or the company that you might be with, right? Maybe they're just not the right fit for you. And I think that was what happened with the last company we were with. I just we got what we needed, and I think we came to a point where we weren't getting any more out of it. And it's like, okay, well, it's time to see what else is out there. And there's
Yep.
so many out there. So now there's like the analysis paralysis, right? Where it's like we're doing all these interviews with all these coaches. Because first, when you sign up with, you're like, dude, everything I need, boom, let's do it. I'm ready to roll. Like, because you're in survival mode, right? You're like, I need your help. And I waited years before we finally signed up. As soon as I had the funds in the account, like, let's do it right now because we are suffering, right? But
Yeah.
then you kind of get above your head above water and you're like, wait, I got options. Oh, that's not good. It's like walking into Baskin Robbins, you're like, I don't know what I want anymore. Just give me
Yeah.
three
And
options. It makes it so much. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's like there's like that analysis paralysis of like I don't know which direction we want the shop to go, and I think that's the time I need to take to really figure out okay, what exactly is it that where are we going? You know what I mean?
yeah, they're all
Instead of just
different.
trying to pay rent. Like okay, now we're
Yeah.
paying rent. Like so now what is the vision and the goal that we want this place to get to?
Yep. Yeah, because some groups have a, like, if you're looking to become more CEO level, there are groups that have better programs like that, right? Because we're in the automotive field, man. We all came from kind of grunts. That's that's what most of our field is. Technicians turned business owners. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of these groups help you just get through that hump because that's a completely different animal. Business is not your car. There's way more there's way more knobs and bells and whistles that you got to focus on when you're running a business. But then when you start when you're like, okay, cool, I got business down, I got my P&L, I know what my GPs are supposed to be, I know what my margins are supposed to be. I'm pretty much on track. I got my fixed cost kind of in check. Now we want to grow. How do I do that? Do I just go get another one and do the same thing? What's going to happen to this one if I'm not here? That's when you got to do your interviews. Like, what coaching companies help you expand? Because they're not all created equal. I've been in
I
a
feel like
couple.
you got to find
They're
like
different.
your blind spots too, or like your weak spots, and I think for me, leadership was kind of the hard one, or cultivating a culture. Obviously, the amount of employee turnover I've had, and I think the right now the senior on staff is just over a year, so I haven't really had anybody with us for more than a year. So
Wow.
that's a pretty glaring like, okay, wait a second here,
Yeah.
that's probably not right,
It's
right? And
telling you
that's on,
something.
yeah, and that's on me. So it's
Yep.
like there's my hole. Okay, so I think I need to focus on finding leadership training more than coaching, auto shop direct
Yep.
coaching,
Yep.
so yeah, it's just trying to find your way, but it's hard to do that. Like, how do you look yourself in the mirror and find out what it is that you're missing?
That's the toughest thing, and that's the thing that you kind of mentioned earlier. With the coaching, you're spending money, and the reality is like, and this happened to me too. It's like you go to coaching and you're like, you don't really, you don't share it all, and you don't share it accurately. They might look at the numbers and they might see some numbers, but there's some stuff that you just don't. It's hard to get vulnerable. It's hard to open up and you know bash yourself, because at the end of the day, if we are not performing, it's me. It's me. So, and when it's me, I take that shit seriously, man. I'm setting up stuff. I'm like, look, what do I need to do? What didn't I make clear? Am I what here's our goals. Um, how did I not make this uh, clear enough? What can I do better? What's holding you up? What wall do I need to break through? Because it is you. At the end of the day, it's all on you. You're the one with the bills. You're the one with the team. You're the one with everything. But truly, your people are what make you a better you. So, um, yeah, it's you got to own it.
I know what you mean, and with the group process, I feel like that. So I mean, it's easy to share your numbers when you're doing well, right? And
Yeah,
and then and then when we don't, when I wasn't doing well for a long time, it was easy to share my numbers. and even still, when I'm missing something, like I'm really not too much. I don't hold that too close, because it's like, this is where I need help. Like, I don't need you to look at the numbers when we're doing good. I need you to see what I'm doing when I'm doing bad.
Yep.
But that hurts a lot too. So it's like, I don't want to. So it's like, here, how do I fix this, right? And I don't have a problem sharing that. My point was, is like, you get in these coaching groups with other shop owners, and then all of a sudden, when their numbers go bad, they don't want to share it, or they fluff it, or they miss the meeting
Mhm.
or whatever, because they don't want to show how bad they're doing. But that's where you're losing your value. It's
Yep.
like, man, like, because I'm gonna have that month too, right? Like, the month that you don't want to share to me is the month I'm going to have here eventually. So if we can figure it out with yours, it's going to help me later. And that's one of the things that I didn't really care for, because we're all the same, right? And that's what would happen. It's like, you would miss that sharing opportunity because they didn't want to show you, and then it's like everybody loses.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. And that's the downside to it, because it is, we're all people, we're all prideful people, and it's tough. It's tough pulling the Komodo open. So, but it is really how you get better. So what you would, if you interviewed my team, what you would find is I'm very, very transparent. That's what makes it easy for me. So I share all of our numbers. Some of the fixed cost is irrelevant, but you, just like on a abbreviated P&L, you can have your rents and your things that matter. The things that they are in control of is the things that you share with them. Fixed, they're not so much, but like parts, even their own costs, some of the shop expenses, where they're doing building fixes or repairs of things, I share it all. That way they know Dave's not rich. $6 million in revenue, $3 million in cost, $3 million in fixed. What's left? See what I'm saying? This is where money goes, right? It's crazy how much comes in and goes out. It's insane. But I think that's where you got to have good people, because you got to trust them. Just like I mentioned earlier when we were talking about the building the classics and the resto mods. You got to have confidence. You got to have faith in that working relationship, and you kind of have to have that with all your people. They're making you money at the end of the day. So, you got to take care of them, make sure that their living is good. But if you don't have them, you don't have
well,
it.
I feel like the margins are just tight, right? So all it takes is
Yeah,
a day of not wanting to give 100%, and then you lose your
yeah.
4% of that you get to take home.
And you're in the wonderfully well managed state of California as well. So
Right.
the regulations and rules that we have to follow for employment are just teeth pulling. It's awful. Like, personally, as a technician, I liked being flat rate. I was in control of my paycheck. If sometimes I would run that shop out of work so I can get off early, and I still made 12 hours that day. But as an hourly employee, which is pretty much what you have to be in California, there's some other little convoluted shit that you can do, but it's just a bunch of bullshit is what it is. It doesn't create good, solid employees anymore. But raw hourly, and you know, it doesn't. You don't get to create that drive unless you have bonus structures, and your margins are thin. You got the guy that working there 8 hours and he produced 5 for you because that's all you had today, and you just lost 3. So that's on the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of nuances with California rules, but again, transparency and having good people, they at least understand it, kind of respect it, help whenever they can. That's important. I got guys, I got a couple that are over 10 years with me. and a handful that are over 5 currently. I've been in business for 15 this year, 15.
It's impressive. Yeah. So, I guess to my last question I wanted to ask you was your vision for Tools Garage. What is it you see yourself in the next 10 years going to?
Well, I will say that that is going to come from my leadership team, because in 10 years, I'm going to be at retirement age. So, what I do see is the possibility of having a shop dedicated to resto mod type work, where I could staff it with people that know how to do it, so I can tinker in there, but it runs on its own. How many shops we have, again, it's going to be dependent upon our leadership. Like, they're like, hey, we want to earn some more, and we would like this. I'll invest. I'll be your investor, but I'm not putting in the grind. So if you can handle it, let's go for it. I'll front the money. So we'll see. Anything's possible. I also said I was only going to be a single shop owner. So
There's that ADD again, right?
yeah, right. It's like when it gets too complacent, you will either go in and screw things up, or you're going to find something else to do. And for me, when our one shop was cranking, I didn't need to be there, and it was weird. I didn't entirely like it. Like, I was at home. I live on property, like 10 acres out here in Valley Springs. There's plenty to do, but I felt weird. Felt weird not doing stuff. So
Did you on that remark? Did you feel like what's the word for it? Kind of like the abandonment. Did you feel like you were abandoning the team?
yeah, maybe not so much abandoning, but like like I mentioned earlier, it's like you feel like you're not needed, or your purpose is like, you're not, if you're not needed. Um, that's what happens to a lot of shop owners. They feel like they're not needed, but they gotta. It's not being done exactly like they want it. So they'll go in, and back when I was doing it, it was always like this. So you get in and screw it up, and um, I guess it makes you feel better, but it's a real thing, and that comes from rose-colored glasses, because we all say we did it like this and it was awesome, but we didn't, dude. I can't even tell you how many. Like, in my mind, I'm like, dude, I used to do this and that and that. I didn't. Maybe sometimes, right? I probably did sometimes, but
Well, then the
no,
only person that thought it was option was the person that was doing it, right? Like, did anybody ever actually tell you that, or you
right?
just thought it was the best way of doing it?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you didn't do it like that. Let me go back and find some paperwork, and I'll show you, Dave. You effed up plenty of this paperwork.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
you're right.
I feel like I've heard that so many times that I always catch myself throughout the day. I'm like, it doesn't need to be necessarily my way, But
No, no. There's a lot of
listen,
things that are not my way now, and it's fine. I look at like the reviews that come in from people, and I'm like, man, these clients are just experiencing greatness from our teams, and I'm like, that's better than I did it. So, they're doing something right, and I just gotta support it. They know I'm the lead barrier breaker. I'm up the chain. Like, if you can't get something to happen, and Bo can't get something to happen, if it gets to me, oh, it's happening. We're getting through there. That way, you can do whatever it is that you wanted to do. So
yeah,
that kind of keeps me going, keeps me feeling useful, and it's few and far in between. But I think that's why I like doing the resto stuff, because it kind of keeps me occupied.
Yeah, someone told Dave he's important, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. It used to be, man. It used to be important.
Well, Dave, I appreciate your time, man. I know you're a busy guy and we're getting a little late, but I do appreciate your time coming on and giving some of your insights because it's awesome, especially in California. I don't have a lot of people I get to interview that are in California, so
That's
it's
funny.
exciting for me.
So for me, so I did a lot of podcasts. We did them on site though, so I would bring people in. So everybody that I interviewed was from California. They
Hmm.
just weren't shop owners. They were clients of mine that had small businesses or whatnot, and we would get in and we called it Shop Talk Live. So we would just talk shop. I'm talking about their business and how it relates, how we do our business, and how they kind of
That's pretty cool.
intertwine.
I like that take. I've tried that a few times. There's a few episodes I have that are like that, non-automotive, and we try to make those correlations. And I mean, typically it is, right? I mean,
It
it's
is.
business is business.
Yeah, it is. It is. I kind of miss doing it, but man, it was tough to try and get to a place and get people coordinated to be there in person. And probably doing
Hmm.
it the way that you're doing it was, I would probably have more success doing it that way. It was fun, and I think people had a lot of fun being there. You'd see the
Yeah.
nerves on them. They would be freaking out when I got cameras out there, and they're like this con, look, there's nobody watching, just the 17 million fans that we have. Yeah, yeah, we did.
They don't even know you. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah,
The in person stuff is definitely there's a different nuance to it. I
yeah,
like it a little better, but this is the only way you can make it happen in this day and
yeah.
age.
Way easier because I was slammed all day. I'm sure you were slammed all day. I literally just got in here to. I'm trying to get this engine out so I can start doing some work on it, and I have to wait till like damn near 5:30 when I'm done and
To
get
get
in
started
here.
on it, yeah.
Yeah, this is my home garage.
And you still got the energy to keep going. Good for you, man.
Yep,
You're doing
gotta do what
something
you gotta
right.
do.
Eat your Wheaties this morning, didn't you?
That's right. I eat them every morning.
Well, if anybody wants to check out any of your videos, is it on YouTube or how do they find some of your
Yeah,
interviews?
yeah. We're well, our YouTube channel, which is Tools Garage, has all of the Dave the Car Guy Shop Talk lives on there. I started creating a Dave the Car Guy website because I was going to separate it out and do that, but I haven't had any time to do it. But who knows? Maybe I'll do it like Jimmy, do an actual just Zoom podcast. This is way more convenient. But yeah,
And it
Tools Garage on YouTube. You'll see a lot of our funny parody shop videos and all the podcasts.
and it's tools with an E.
Yep, Tools with an E, my last name.
Tool. That's TOOLES.
Yes,
Give him a
Tools.
like and a subscribe and watch his stuff because he's got a
Yep,
hell of an operation going on. So
yep, working on it, working on it. And you too, Jimmy, out there in Paso.
that's right.
Yeah. Oh no, you're not in Paso. No, it is
Yep.
Paso. Yeah,
Pass Robles. Yep.
yeah, yeah. Cool, man.
Well, thanks again, Dave.